With everything going on recently about the brand spanking new metro tunnel, it might be easy to forget about its forebearer, the City Loop. Although this is mostly an underground railway, there are a couple of hidden places where you can see it at surface level, and that's what we're going to look at today in this video. Now, the City Loop was built in the 1980s through and around Melbourne CBD. It linked Melbourne's two main central stations, Flinders Street and Spencer Street, now called Southern Cross, with three new underground stations at Parliament, Museum, which is today called Melbourne Central, and Flagstaff. It was revolutionary for Melbourne at the time, and helped to kick-start the revitalisation of the previously neglected inner city, as well as helping to reverse the huge declines in public transport use since 1945. To research this video, I headed over to the Public Records Office of Victoria, and there I went through many of the maps and designs that were very interesting, and I did find some other cool things that I might have to include in another video. I was able to use these maps to pinpoint some of these locations and help me find them. Now, the City Loop's 4 tracks come in and out of the ground at various points, and these are the most obvious places to see it. One of the best viewing points is on the Russell Street extension at Federation Square, just behind the loading dock for NGV Australia. Here you can get a great view of the Jolimont Yards and the tunnel portal for the Northern Loop. You can get a similar view of the same tunnel by loitering suspiciously at the very dingy eastern end of platforms 5 and 6 at Flinders Street Station. One lesser known spot is not very far from here, hiding in plain sight on the corner of Spring Street and Wellington Parade. This is a ventilation shaft for the tunnels below, built here in Treasury Gardens. You would never know it was there unless you looked closely, because it's cleverly disguised as a garden bed surrounded by plants and flowers. But if you head a bit closer, you'll see some steps leading down to a door, which takes you into the ventilation shaft. As you can see in this brochure from the City Loop's opening, these shafts function as relief valves for each end of each underground station. As trains move through the tunnel, they push air out in front of them and pull air in behind them, allowing for air to circulate. If you now head north to 33 Latrobe Street, just near the intersection with Victoria Street, you'll see this apartment building and laneway next to the Sapphire by the Gardens skyscraper. It was also the site of some of Mary MacKillop's work to provide food, shelter and education for unemployed, homeless and vulnerable women and children. But that's not what we're here to see today. I was tipped off some time ago by someone who lives here about this feature of the City Loop in the form of another ventilation shaft. You can see it in aerial images here in this half-circular building. When I went to film this video, the gates were actually open, so I just wandered in to have a look. It sits at the back of this laneway and is a similar circular design to the one in Treasury Gardens. The plans label it as an air filter. There is also a ventilation shaft shown on the plans around the corner on Exhibition Street. This is what the location looks like today, and I'm pretty sure that it's this tower right on the north edge of the Telephone Exchange building. You can see a better view of it in this image from 2019. Further west is Republic Tower on the southwest corner of Queen Street and Latrobe Street. Hidden behind the massive billboard is a small white door with a sign that says, "Do not enter without authority from Metrol." Metrol being the central control centre for Melbourne's Metropolitan Rail network. This door leads to one of the electrical substations, providing access as seen on the plans here. A few doors down is this very hidden air relief shaft next to the Heritage Melbourne Mint buildings. You can see it labelled here on these original plans, but it's hard to see behind the high brick wall. Nearby, Flagstaff Gardens has what is probably the largest and most obvious. Right on the frontage with Latrobe Street is this large ventilation shaft. It was cordoned off for a while recently during the City Loop fire and safety upgrades, which have now made it even more obvious. Stand close enough and you'll get what I think is one of the most distinctive smells of Melbourne, the Comenge train brake dust mixed with the cool air of the rail tunnels. There is also a substation shown on the original plans at the end of Brights Lane, just on the other side of Latrobe Street, but this was included prior to the construction of the Commonwealth Law Courts, and it looks like this is either now entirely within the building or no longer exists. In any case, I couldn't find any signs of it at street level. Finally, at the corner of Adderley Street and Latrobe Street, just east of the bridge over the railway, is this brick building that has the same sign on the door as Republic Tower with a reference to Metrol. But this one is a bit special. This isn't another substation or ventilation shaft, but rather where one of the 2 dedicated emergency exits for the City Loop lead. This particular one comes out of the Northern Loop, and if you keep a sharp eye out while travelling through the tunnel to or from North Melbourne Station, you might just see the door or one of the emergency exit signs. There is apparently one other dedicated emergency exit in the Caulfield Loop near Richmond, although I couldn't find it. I think it may be somewhere around this old signal box off Brunton Avenue, but I'm not sure. If you know or have any clues, please let me know in the comments below. Also across the road from Adderley Street on Latrobe Street is this counterpart building next to the Victoria Police Headquarters that houses another electrical substation. There are a couple of other things like the tunnel entrances themselves, but that's all we've got to show in this video. There are also rumours of other infrastructure like an emergency exit into 2 to 30 Lonsdale Street or a secret entrance from Parliament House, but nothing that I've been able to confirm. It goes without saying that you should absolutely not attempt to access or otherwise interfere with any of these. They're all there for a reason, so please don't go mucking around with essential infrastructure. Anyway, I hope that's been interesting for you. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate your support, and you can also check out my supporters portal at members.philipmallis.com. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.